Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I want to talk a little bit today about breaking horses and making preppers. The two have a lot in common, and I want to explain that. Actually, this is welcome, by the way. Welcome to all the new people. We keep growing, and I want to welcome all the new subscribers, both on Integrative Preparedness YouTube and Integrative Preparedness Patreon. And if you have joined us yet over on Patreon, I always put the link down below, and we'd love to have you over there. We put a lot of stuff over there that we can't put on YouTube because of the nature that YouTube doesn't like. So that's how you get extra stuff over there. Like I said, the link is down below, and we'd love to have you. I often say that I have the smartest commenters in YouTube land, and I think every video proves that. We had a great discussion the other day about what preps people did. We'll get into that a little bit more on a later one. By the way, it is National Day of the Cowboy. Did you all know that? You probably didn't. Kansas is one of 15 states who recognizes and celebrates that, and I'm going to make a second video on that. Probably I'll do it today. It'll be a second video because what I want to talk today more is about breaking horses and making preppers. And when I realized that it was National Cowboy Day, I said, well, that's the time to make this video. Before we get any farther into this, I want to tell you who our sponsor is. Regardless of who others ads you see up there, our sponsor, these are always brought to you by the Stonemont series, my books, a series of so far 5 books that talks about how to prepare for, how to survive, and how to rebuild from a total collapse. Actually, there's a lot of cowboy culture in here. I talk a lot about, for people who want to know about cowboy hat etiquette and superstitions and things like that. I forget which book. I think it might be the 3rd book, but I'm not sure. The books are The Reversion, The Revival, The Renewal, and Appeal to Heaven, and The Blessings of Freedom. And if you like freedom and blessings and heaven and stuff like that, you'll like these books. So if you haven't gotten them, I always put down the links down here too in the information section, and on a pinned comment on how you can get them through Amazon and either trade paperback or Kindle, and or directly from me if you'd like autographed copies, and I love doing that for the readers. So there you are. I have always loved horses. I think before I could walk, probably, I was being told about horses. And my grandmother was one of the ones who, because I grew up in a city, my grandmother was the one who really got me first interested. She had gone to Oklahoma in the late 1800s in a wagon, way out in the panhandle, Guyman, Oklahoma, where I guess her father bought some land out there and said, let's go out there, and man, I got a couple of pictures of them out there that, it's barren. They're standing out in front of a little sod house, and some ragtail pony tied to a rock, I think, laying on the ground. And it might have been something else, I don't remember. But then they came back. But she had always loved horses, and my family had a bunch of farms in Missouri. They'd come up from. Don't worry, I'm getting to the point for the guy that says, "Get to the point." And they had come. Well, I won't tell you. I won't get into that. I'll get into that later. Anyway, I've been wearing a cowboy hat and a gun since I was about 3. Of course, the gun was a toy until I became older. But it's always just been a part of my personality, my persona, my interests, everything like that. When I was about 16, I guess it was, I bought my first horse when I was 16. Now, like I said, I lived in the city, horses were not a big thing in the city. Nowadays a lot of people like to have horses, and they board them, and they're expensive if you do it the way people do it now. They weren't expensive the way I did it. But I bought my first horse when I was 16. You set him out with the rest of the herd. I kept it at my cousin's place down around south of Clinton. And, you let them run with the other horses, and you keep getting new horses. And I finally had 8 before I finally got too busy in some special units and up here in Kansas City, and didn't have time and had to sell them. Big regret. I should have kept the horses and ditched the job. But, we learn from our mistakes, right? Like they say, it's you didn't fail as long as you learned. I oftentimes kind of, wish that I'd taken the other route, but such is life, and I'm back on my original route now. A lot of people sent their horses off to be broken, or there would be people that would come by and break your horses. Well, I was always interested, and to bring this, I broke my own. The reason that I did is because I liked spending time with my horses. When I was on the police department, every week on my days off, I would go down, and I'd spend a couple of days down there just sleeping out, camping out in the woods, messing with the horses, and walking them around. Sometimes I'd ride, and sometimes I'd just walk along with them, kind of be with them. Horses are, well, I won't get too deeply into horse psychology and all that, but they're very interesting animals. There's that hornet again from yesterday. Anyway, I broke my own horses, and I would soft break them, as opposed to getting in a corral, and throwing that saddle on them like you see in all the movies. If you watch Yellowstone, you've seen that a few times. And some guys think that's fun, and it's a part of the American culture to get out there and just throw a saddle and a bridle or a hack on that horse and just try to stay on until it bucks itself out. And regardless of what you see, you'll see these things on TV or the movies, to where the guy goes out, takes a green horse, breaks it in, and all of a sudden, after that horse has realized it can't throw him off, now the horse is just fine as can be, and they ride up and they ride off, and their neck reining and all. It don't work like that. It does not work like that. Well, the way that I would soft break my horses, don't worry, this will get around to how you develop preppers, was, first off, I'd just be with them. They grew up in the fields and the woods. I think that an animal learns a lot about how to be a horse. Well, a horse learns how to be a horse. A dog learns how to be a dog. If you just leave them alone for a couple of years, let them get out there and learn horse stuff. Let them run with the rest of the horses. Let them learn how to navigate the woods and the rocky slopes and the different things and all that. Leave them alone for a couple of years, but be around. They start to see you as a part of their normal world, and then as they see you petting and being with the older horses, the ones that came before them, they say, that's all right. He's one of us, and he pets us, and he strokes us and brushes us and stuff like that, and you just become a part. Well, the one that you're gonna break, you start paying a little bit more attention to them. And you talk. I used to sing all the time, so I'd talk and I'd sing songs and just wander around. And as soon as that horse kind of, starts to follow you or be with you, and of course, first you cheat and you carry apples and carrots and things like that. But or corn. Then he's following you around, and then whenever you come out there, he's not running away from you. And when you come out there, he's coming over to you, because he's, it's not like he loves you so much, but he says, apple, carrot, corn. Well, you develop that relationship, and then you you start working, you know, with a neck rope, you know, a halter, a hackamore, whatever, however you want to do it. You get that on. They don't much like that at first because it's unusual, but as you're singing and you're stroking their heads and all that, and you know, they might toss. I never like to force a horse into doing anything. They might toss their head and they back away and everything. That's all right. Don't make a big deal out of it. Start applying this to winning people to be preppers. But pretty soon, it won't be long, if you're just nice and gentle and you don't make any sudden moves and you don't get mad and you just got a smile on your face. I came to believe that a horse could tell if you're smiling and what that meant. But they're comfortable. Pretty soon, you know, you can get that halter, you can get that bridle on. And so you do that. And then you spend a lot more time brushing their back. Horses are very sensitive, as are people, right? We don't really. Very sensitive. Every hair on that horse's body sends a sensation to it. And so you're nice and easy. You want that horse to feel the love coming through your hand. The palm of your hand. You're telling him with the palm, or her, with the palm of that hand, as it goes down across its back and across its flanks and over its neck and down its nose. Every one of those is love. I'm doing this because I love you. Okay. And because you and I are going to be a team. Okay. So you do that for a while, and then you put a blanket on it, or, you know, sometimes just a gunny sack. You put something on its back. And at first it's going to, you know, shake it off. And you just go, that's all right, that's all right. And that's a good one. Then you bring it up and you kind of use that. And, well, I should back up. First you take that blanket or that gunny sack, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And you can just kind of use it to kind of smooth, you know, kind of get it used to it. And you let it sniff it, and you let it, you know, what up there. And you might cheat and put an apple in there, or just wipe some apple juice on there. So he kind of likes that, you know. So you're kind of stroking it, and put it on its back, and it'll shake it off a couple of times. But you keep doing it and go, you know, no, it's okay, it's all right, it's okay. And pretty soon it won't shake it off. So now you do it. Now it takes a lot of time, you know, but I mean, you know, important things take time sometimes. And just like with people, like bringing people around, right? So you get to the point to where it keeps that blanket on. Well, then you know, I'd put a strap around that blanket and bring it under the belly, not too tight, because that's another unusual situation, right? But I want to be able to walk them through the woods without that blanket coming off, so I want it to stay on. So I'd put a strap around there. They don't like that, but you get it used to it. You know, they're going to resist it a number of times. That's all right. You just keep coming at it and reassuring them that, see, it wasn't bad, nothing bad happened to them. See, too many people are afraid of horses, and you got to realize that horses are afraid of what they don't know, and they're afraid of you. They don't know what you're doing to them. So you do that for a while. You walk them around with the other horses, you know, and then you can step it up from there, and you know, start working on getting that saddle on. Now that takes a little more time. You got to be slow. You got to be methodical. You know, people who just kind of throw that saddle up there, well, that saddle's going to bounce right off, because that horse is going to buck it up. You're nice and gentle. You know, you hook that opposing stirrup up so it doesn't flop on its other side, and you just kind of settle it down there while you're talking and singing and all that kind of stuff. And it's gonna look at it. It's gonna feel it. It might skip around, you know. And throw it off. You just keep doing it while you're talking and singing. And, you know, you might need to come back the next day to do that. Sometimes that is. I never like to rush it. Pretty soon that horse will take that saddle. And then I take it out for a ride through the fields and through the woods and all that, leading it while I'm riding one of my other horses. Okay, and I'm just leading it. It's coming along with its saddle. I do that, and then you put some weight on that saddle. And could be a sack of grain, could be anything. Grain works best, you know, tie it on so it doesn't fall off. And you do the same thing, and you kind of, go for a ride and bring that horse along with you. The horse, especially if it's his mother, will like to follow that other horse. Plus, by now, it wants to be with you. Does that make sense? So you take it out there riding around with some weight on the saddle for a while. Then after a while, it's time for you to try. And I back up a little bit. When you start putting the weight on it, the first thing you do is you put some weight on that left stirrup. Okay, while you're putting it up there, you put some weight on that left stirrup. That's getting the horse used to the fact that when you step into the saddle, they're going to feel weight in that left stirrup, and then they're going to feel weight on their back. That makes sense? So you do this. You get that up, you get the grain sack, you got the saddle on, it's taking the saddle just fine. And you put some weight on that stirrup, and you put that grain sack over across the saddle, and you tie it down, and it's going to be skittish, it's skidding around, but it's all right. You sing a song. And pretty soon it's going to get used to that. So after you've taken it for a number of rides gone through that a lot and ridden them around, taking them on a lead rope behind another horse, now it's time for you to get up in the saddle. And the first thing you do is you just kind of put your boot in that stirrup and lift yourself up just a little bit. Now you don't sink your boot. Now, if for those of you who are smart and pay attention, you see how all of these things apply to developing a new prepper, okay? You don't sink that boot all the way into the stirrup. You just put the ball of your foot in that stirrup, because horses can be skittish, and even though it trusts you more now, you can't ever be sure what a horse is going to do next until you've been with them a long time. And if it does something weird, you don't want your boot stuck way down in that stirrup. So you put a little, lift yourself up about halfway. You don't get into the saddle. You lift yourself up a little bit, and then you sit back down. Step back down. Okay. And then you talk a little bit and sing a song, and then you do it again. Over and over and over. You keep doing that until this is something that the horse doesn't mind. And then you give it an apple, and you step up and you do it again. Well, now it doesn't mind it. Plus, it's got something it likes. It's got an apple. And you keep doing it. And then, now other people may do it different ways, and that's all right. Many people have different ways to doing it. A lot of people will, it doesn't matter what this is the way I did it. After I do that a little bit, then it's time to stand up in that one stirrup. Okay? Stand up in that one stirrup. Somebody trying to sneak up on me. Stand up in that stirrup. Just let your weight there for a minute. Pay attention to that horse. Watch its ears. See what's going on in its mind. Step back down. Do that, 3 or 4 million times. Do it however many times it takes. And then get it used to that. After a while, it's time to slowly, when it's fine with that, it's time to slowly step up and bring your other leg slowly over to the other side. Remember, keep the toe of that boot, only the toe of that boot, in the stirrup. Because if it starts bugging, you don't want to get your foot caught in the stirrup. And lower yourself down into the saddle. Now don't put that other foot in the other stirrup yet. Okay, just let it take your weight. At this point, that horse, now your right foot isn't caught up in the right stirrup. Your left foot, you can get yourself off, because you can swing yourself back if you need to. And you let it take your weight. Now it depends on how much time you have spent with all this other stuff as to the horse's reaction. No matter how much time you have spent, this is still unusual to the horse, because now you're not where you're supposed to be. Okay, he's not where they're used to you being, and all of a sudden more's weight on them than that grain sack was, right? So you can expect a little a little, dancing around, maybe a buck or two, something like that. And different horses are different. Some are gonna put a lot more energy into getting you off than others, but they're all gonna try, for the most part. At least everyone I had did, but not much. I had one. I had a half-happy stud that was, boy, he was tough. He was tough. But he came around. And so finally, you're going to be in that saddle. But guess what you're not going to be able to do? You're not going to be able to neck rein that horse. Neck reining means by laying a rein across a certain side of the neck and all, that you direct that horse. That's something that you teach. That's something that the horse has to learn. That doesn't happen when you get on its back. When you get on its back, all it is a horse with something with you on its back, okay? You haven't trained it to do anything. So now the best thing to do is to let it kind of go just a little bit its way, just so it doesn't have anything to fight against, but you still have to kind of control it. Now, the more you can control it with your voice, the better you're going to be. Some things, I'm not going to get into other parts of that. If they start bucking, well, I'll just leave that. Then you got a lot more. You got some more work to do. If you got a real problem horse that you can't make it work like that, but you really want to break it, some guys. Now, I almost did it this way with that Appy stud, but I didn't, because it can be dangerous. I don't take them to a corral and let them buck it out. You can lead them into a pond or a whatever about chest high. Just lead them in there if they'll go, and most will eventually, and then you get up on its back then, and that horse can't buck in a pond, but it can be dangerous. I mean, that horse, you don't know what that horse can do. It's going to start kind of rearing up and all that, and if it comes up and over back on top of you, you have a problem. If you ever do that, don't ever once you're up in the saddle, you get that boot out of the stirrups, and don't put the other one in a stirrup, so that if that horse starts to go crazy and weird things start to happen, you're not trapped under a 1,000-pound horse at the bottom of a farm pond. Anyway, I think that I had a friend of mine when he was younger. He was wearing he was using a new saddle. It was a little bit big for him. He had just gotten bigger. I think he went from a 14-inch to a 15-inch saddle. He wasn't used to it. And his horse named Ketchup, it was a white horse named Ketchup. I don't know why he named it Ketchup. But it came up for some reason. It reared up, and however it happened, I wasn't there, but I tell you, funny things can happen with horses, and they ain't funny. It came over on top of him, and the saddle horn came down on him right here and killed him. So, doing this stuff can be dangerous, but that's why I like to do it slow and easy. Now, you all can see, I'm sure, how this applies to developing a prepper acceptance, understanding, and mindset in new people. And the thing is to make them comfortable with it. Okay, just be a part of it. Let them see the part of you that's not crazy, right? Let them see that you're nice and calm and collected, and you're happy, and you're not a threat to them, and you're not there to force them to do anything, and let them get used to it a little bit at a time, and all the time. And it can be a long-term thing. You don't win anybody into preparedness by throwing a saddle on them and riding them until they can't buck anymore, right? Does that make sense? Take your time. Let them feel that you have their best interests at heart. Let them feel that you care about them. Let them feel that you're not a threat, you're not crazy, you don't make any sudden moves, that you're calm, okay? And then just let them, like I did with those horses, let them just kind of, you go through your life and let them see you, so that they're kind of following you through, you know. Hey, by the way, I just saw that the grocery store down here has ground beef on sale for $1.88 a pound. I'm going to buy a bunch. If you've got room in your freezer, you might think about, you know, buying a bunch and freezing it for, you know. Well, that makes sense. Oh yeah, maybe I'll do that. See what they're doing? They're kind of following you around. You're just kind of leading them through the woods with a little bit of weight on the saddle, right? Okay. So anyway, I think all of you got that analogy. Bring these people in soft. They can be excellent parts of your group, of your circle of friends. Because most of the people who don't prep, just like a horse that's never been broken or never been ridden, they just don't understand it. They think it's weird, okay? Just like with a horse, you just got to let them realize, you got to teach them, not through your words, but through your actions, that it's not weird. And really, it's better for them. You know, I love wild horses. I would never go out and capture a wild horse. Well, I don't know if I would or not. I don't have it. I've never been interested in doing that. I think that things that are wild, it's great that they're wild, but you know, it's going to be a dangerous world out there for a wild horse or anything else. And usually when we domesticate them, their lives can be better and safer, and actually they can be happier in some ways. I'm not going to get into all the animal psychology, because you know, people feel differently about it, and however you feel about it is right for you. Anyway, breaking a horse is, now most of you will never have to break a horse. If you ever do, just go ahead and play this back, and you'll have a lot easier time than bucking that thing in a hard packed corral and getting a lot more boo-boos and aches than the horse does. So think about that. You know, developing new people, bringing new people into the preparedness, understanding, and lifestyle can be important. Can be important to you. Can be important to other people who then won't have to, you know, provide for them. They won't have to rely on other people, or they won't be a danger to other people, or whatever. So just think about that a little bit. Again, happy National Day of the Cowboy. And just to remind you again, if you haven't read the books, the Stonemont series, I think you'd like them. The links are down here, as is the link over to Patreon, so come join us if you'd like. Now I'm going to make one about National Day of the Cowboy, and to that one, when I put that one over on Patreon, I'm going to put some links down there for you to read about National Day of the Cowboy. You can Google it. I'm sure it's up there. But just, you know, this is what I do for people that are over on Patreon. I try to make it easy and put the links there for them. So you all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And start thinking about either breaking a horse or developing a new prepper-minded friend. All right. You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.